I'm more willing to move on from Jared Allen. Like, if we're going to have a movement with the core four, I think Jared Allen is an easier one to move on from. I think he might be harder to trade in some aspects, but I also think for the type of player you're looking for, I think he might be easier to trade. Because with Darius, I think it's very hard to move on. You asked me, what would I do if next April or May or whenever the hell the season ended? It's been over a month now. What would I do if we got to the second round and we lost again? Well, if I know exactly who they're trading for, I will stand there and go, no, I wasn't trading him for Jalen Suggs then, and I'm not trading him now, or whatever name that is there. I mean, if we found out that it was a package deal and we could have got Giannis or Kevin or something, like, okay, well, that's different. If you could, you know what? Even if you name names and you said Alex Caruso, because hell, you could sell me on that guy right now. I think it's easy. But to some, it's probably fish in a barrel because it's the finals. But some of these like names and things like that, I go, no. Like names do not mean as much as the actual names to me. Darius, I know that we can be critical of him, and with sometimes for very good reason. But I think that if we're talking about freak out moves, I think that this would be a freak out move. So, yeah, you know what? If they lose next year in the second round, if they keep things the status quo and they lose next year in the same round of the playoffs, go ahead and throw this audio right back in my face, right back at me. And I'll have to deal with those words because I'm not moving on from this group just because I'm mad that they lost to the Indiana Pacers. Well, Making moves because I'm mad at guys is not a good thing to do. It's not going to be a winner in the long run.
Well, it just depends, right? Like if Darius is never going to be a playoff performer, then we're going to wish
How do I know he's never going to be a playoff performer? He's 25.
We're going to wish that he's been in the league 6 years, though. I mean, it's not like this was his second year in the league. Like Evan, this was his fourth year. This was, another go around in the playoffs. You could see at times where he is doing things we had not seen him do before. Darius, I've seen his game. I know everything he can do. When he is in rhythm, when he gets that shot going, when he gets the floater going, all those things. But it just seems like the running theme has been can't do those things in the playoffs when defenses get more physical, more handsy.
We'll put him on. Fana's listening. He wants on. All right. John Fanta, Fox Sports, college basketball. He joins us right now on the North Olmsted Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram hotline. What?
What a greeting from you. Happy summer, Ken.
I read your tweet, and I thought it was left at that, and then all of a sudden I'm getting phone calls from you here on the show, John. You're doing a run-in on me. Well, go ahead. Let me have it. What's the problem?
I would never run into you, Ken, and by that would cause Cleveland to shake if I ran into you. I mean, that more so from me.
What's
but
the matter,
my God.
John? What's wrong? I know you wanted Darius Garland jettisoned. Well, here's what you get him jettisoned for. You rethinking it now?
Whoa. Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. All I have said now for a couple of years is that I have not bought him as a playoff player. He can help you get to where the Cavaliers got. Now, I will say this. The argument is convenient when you look at this postseason, right? Like would you guys agree this is the worst case scenario as it pertains to this argument? Because as Anthony said, yeah, he's been in the league 6 years, but in this particular postseason, it's like an incomplete, it's like an NA. We don't know what the full answer is to this point in terms of how Darius Garland is as a postseason player, because coming off of his best regular season where his value, and I think that's why the trade argument's being made here, guys, is his value has never been in a place like it is now coming off the regular season that he had. But this postseason was incomplete for him. You can't accurately grade it when you consider the injury. So, look, I'm not here to bury the guy. Here's what I am here to say. Of the core four, everyone's like, are you going to blow it up? You're going to blow it up? I don't believe that trading one piece of a core four and exploring an option to try to better your team is blowing it up, or everybody gets into the extremes. I am in favor, though, when you look at the Cavaliers, like 3 postseasons is a long time. It's a long time in the NBA. Like we do have sample size of this group of not working.
I understand we have a sample size of it. But to make some of the moves here, like, listen, I'm not that far off from you about this. Like, I'm open-minded to some of this stuff. They've lost twice in a row now in the second round. I have to be open-minded to it. But good God, we're talking ourselves into Jalen Suggs. Why? Because we loved him coming out of college. We're talking ourselves into guys. Again, they're not. It's not Caruso. It's not McConnell. It's guys like that. That doesn't seem. I mean, good God, you live basketball. This is your life, John. You don't see how reckless, how irresponsible that seems?
But the Twitter trade machine is for entertainment purposes.
But I got the guy next to me who's got the biggest brain on basketball in the station, who's a full-time employee here, John. No disrespect to you, who's telling me that he would make these trades.
Well,
he's not a Twitter guy.
Hold on.
I don't think Anthony's saying that to that degree.
I have to say, what I have been strongly urging is they've got to figure out if losing Garland can help make Evan Mobley into the player that he can be. And what I mean by that is the high usage of the two guards, I think in some ways is holding him back from being the true unicorn. And it could be that losing Darius Garland for a more defensive minded, doesn't need the ball in his hands consistently to have an impact type player could actually help the team's ceiling because Evan Mobley could reach his ceiling quicker.
Look, I agree with that, but the same argument, the reason why I made the argument 2 years ago on this very show was because I didn't believe and still don't believe that for the Cavaliers to reach their apex, to reach their very, very, very best point in the playoffs, whether that's winning a championship, making the NBA Finals, I don't know. Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland both need the basketball in their hands to flourish. They do. Darius Garland is undersized, and I don't fully trust him in the toughness column, in the defense column, and in the physicality column. And when you couple that with Mitchell and Garland, it's a square peg, round hole thing. They're trying to make it work. They've tried. They're two good guys. Darius Garland is a high character individual who works hard, and I have nothing bad to say about what he's given the Cavaliers organization. It just doesn't work for this franchise to get to the next level, in my humble opinion. Yes, it's Mobley. Mobley still has a lot of untapped things. But to me, Garland and Mitchell, they're not the same player. Mitchell is far better than Garland. But they do a lot of the same things. And that doesn't work when you get to the postseason, where all five guys on the floor in the finals right now between these two teams and even in the Eastern Conference Finals, they do different things. They bring different things to the table. To me, there's too many similarities to what Garland and Mitchell need to have success, where Garland's always going to play second fiddle, and it just hasn't fit. It doesn't.
I don't know how you can look at a team that won 64 games last year and say it just doesn't fit. The
playoffs are a different monster. They're a different entity and a different monster.
Well, wait a minute. The team that won 68 games is in the finals right now in the playoffs, and they're in a 1-1 series. So what do you mean it's a different monster? So we have to change. We have to make a change that big to go ahead and make it further into the postseason. That's a big change.
Is it that big of a change?
Hell yeah, I think it's a big change.
I think to me, Mobley or Mitchell being out is a big change. I don't think I've seen enough from Darius Garland in the playoffs to sit here and say, what a sizable, what a massive change by the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think you're recalibrating. You're recalibrating your formula. And I think in the NBA, you have to do it. The New York Knicks don't make the conference finals without being bold. They don't. And they don't come as close as they did in the NBA finals without being bold. I think you always have to be looking at outside the box. Are there reckless suggestions? Yes. But that's with any trade scenario that you're going to have. I'm not saying that Kobe Altman should pull the trigger on some of these things, but I also think I've seen enough to say this isn't working. You want to see another postseason of it, and I respect that argument, but I humbly disagree.
All right. Well, John, I mean, we'll reach an impasse, so I guess this is where the phone call just ends. I still respect you. I love you.
Afternoon drive tomorrow at 4 on 92.3 The Fan.
Was that what this was all about? Was this up? Did they get you to call just for that reason, Fanta?
You want to put it back on?
I'm a little worried that we just got bamboozled here.
Did you just do that?
What, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm just here to play a header behind.
No, damn it.
R.I.P. That segment's not behind us.
You know what? He's the one who's going to get the phone call, not me. So fine, you go ahead and say it, John. I don't care.
Cease and or desist.
I don't care if you're not an actual full-time employee and you're just adjacent to it. You're going to get the same call I do, bud. Thanks to John Fanta calling in, giving us a visit. I've said my piece on it. I've said it a million times over. I know, but I do know this. If Chris is saying it, then it's being shopped. Sure. I can't say it's definitely happening, but it's being shopped.
Yeah, that's why for anybody just tuning in now, Chris Fedor lands. I think it's a bombshell because it's coming from Chris. He talks repeatedly. He talks always with members of the organization. And for him to come on here and say, over the weekend, it was Saturday with Earl and Spence, that he thinks this needs to happen. Talking about Garland's defensive liability and considering all the discussions we've had since their season got cut short again in the second round, I think there's a reason you're seeing all the aggregators and people around the NBA talk about this. Like, I didn't think they were really going to trade Garland. I thought they would just run it back again and say, well, he was injured. Like John Fanta just said, it's an incomplete for what he did in the playoffs. Now, I'm starting to think they really could be trading Darius Garland.